Okay, so have you ever found yourself right there in the middle of a conversation trying to speak English? And the words, they feel like they're right there, on the tip of your tongue. But instead of just, speaking, there's this little interpreter running in your head.
Constantly translating.
Yeah. Diligently translating every single thought from your native language before you actually make a sound. It feels like your brain's running this full-time translation service.
It really does, and it can be pretty exhausting.
Okay, let's unpack this. If that sounds painfully familiar, believe me, you are definitely not alone. That internal translation process, that sort of mental detour, it's often pinpointed as like the biggest roadblock for so many English learners.
Yeah.
When it comes to really, truly achieving fluency, it's kind of the wall we hit, isn't it?
It truly is. And what's so interesting here, I think, is just how universal that experience is. It doesn't matter what your native language is. It almost feels like a helpful step at first, but it's precisely that habit, that deeply ingrained thing that actually holds us back. But the real insight from the material you've shared is that there are actually surprisingly direct ways around this.
And that's exactly the deep dive we're getting into today. We're exploring how to start thinking directly in English, bypassing that internal interpreter altogether so you can speak faster, more naturally, and just, feel more confident doing it. We've pulled some really practical ideas from sources like Unlock English Fluency, Think Directly in English, and some other research, too. They lay out a pretty clear path.
Yeah, so our mission for you, our listener, is really to give you a shortcut here. We want to boil down the core ideas and, more importantly, the actionable techniques.
Yeah.
Things that can genuinely change how you communicate in English.
Like a toolkit you can start using today.
Exactly. Stuff you can integrate into your daily life right away.
Okay, so if this internal translation thing is so common, why is it such a big deal? Why does it trip us up so much? What's actually happening in our heads? The material you brought us really digs into that, doesn't it?
It does. It really highlights how this habit, which seems harmless, creates some real friction. First off, there's just the time it takes, the sheer time drain.
Oh,
Every word, every little phrase, it gets bounced between two languages. That adds milliseconds,
Milliseconds, but they add up, I guess.
They add up fast. And suddenly, you're getting these noticeable pauses in conversations. And it's not just, like, awkward for you.
Yeah.
It disrupts the whole flow, the natural rhythm of a chat.
Oh, I can totally relate to that feeling. Those little silences where you feel like you're just searching. Yeah. And then there's the way you actually sound, right? The quality of the English.
Exactly. That's the second big problem. Your sentences often end up sounding a bit unnatural, maybe stilted.
Yeah.
Because when you're translating directly word for word, you're often missing the common phrases, the idioms, the natural rhythm that native speakers just use instinctively.
Right.
It's like trying to force one language's map onto another's territory. They just don't always line up perfectly.
So you end up sounding maybe a little robotic. Or like you're reading from a textbook.
Yeah, textbook-ish is a good way to put it. Not really conversational.
And I bet all of this feeds right into the third problem the sources mentioned.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The third one, and maybe the most damaging one, is the hit to your confidence. When the words don't come out quickly, when your sentences feel clunky, that anxiety just starts to build. You get nervous, you hesitate even more, and then it becomes this like vicious cycle. It holds you back from really jumping into conversations, even when you technically know the words.
Wow.
It's a pretty significant mental burden, actually. It can make speaking English feel like this constant uphill struggle.
So yeah, these aren't just little bumps in the road. They're real barriers that can suck the joy out of speaking English, make it feel like hard work. But, okay, flip side. What happens when we do manage to bypass that translation step? What does it feel like then? Our sources paint a pretty appealing picture of the benefits, right?
Oh, definitely. The benefits are huge. Almost like liberating.
Yeah.
First, you just gain so much speed and fluency.
Yeah.
Think about the mental energy you save.
Yeah.
Just knowing what you want to say in English without that extra step. Your brain goes straight from the thought to the English words.
That sounds amazing. Like shifting from, driving stick to an automatic, just smoother, faster.
That's a great analogy. It really is. And flowing from that, your sentences just naturally become more fluid, more authentic. You start to absorb the natural sentence structures, the common phrases, the little idiomatic ways of saying things.
Okay.
Your English starts to sound genuinely more like a native speaker's, not just a translated version from another language.
Which I'm guessing has a massive impact on that third problem we talked about, the confidence thing.
It absolutely transforms it. You start to feel much more confident, way less anxious about opening your mouth. That mental block, it just starts to dissolve because you're trusting your English brain more, your intuition. You can actually engage properly in conversations, show your personality, connect with people without that constant draining self-correction going on in the background. It really changes your whole relationship with the language.
That honestly sounds like the dream for so many people learning English. But, okay, let's be real. For someone who's been translating in their head for years, almost automatically, how hard is it really to make that switch? What do our sources say? What are the first, practical things you can actually do?
That's the key question, isn't it? Because just saying think in English feels a bit abstract.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, how?
But the good news is, it's not about flipping some magic switch overnight. It's about building new habits, new pathways in your brain. It's a cognitive shift, really. Streamlining how you communicate. And the techniques to get started are surprisingly simple.
Exactly. And that's what's so great about the material you shared. It lays out these incredibly accessible ways to kickstart the process. These aren't heavy academic exercises. They're things you can do every day, even right now. Okay, let's dive into the first strategy. Our sources say this is the most basic building block. Start with objects around you. And it really is as simple as it sounds. Just look around the room you're in or what's on your desk and just name what you see in English. Don't worry about sentences yet. Just label chair, lamp, phone, water bottle.
Yeah, this is foundational because it creates that immediate, direct mental link. So instead of seeing your coffee cup, thinking the word in your native language, then finding the English word coffee cup.
You just see it and think coffee cup.
Precisely. You link the visual straight to the English word. It bypasses your native language completely.
Yeah.
It's like forging a direct path in your mind.
Okay, that immediate connection, no filter. That sounds powerful. But what about, when we're doing things, not just looking at static objects, how do we bring that direct thinking into our day-to-day actions?
Right. Good question. And that leads us perfectly into the next technique. Narrate your day. This basically means becoming your own personal English commentator in your head.
Okay. Like a sports announcer from my own life.
Huh. Sort of.
Yeah.
As you go about your normal day, just describe your actions in English, but silently to yourself. It's an internal monologue.
So instead of thinking, I don't know, I need to make coffee in Spanish or French or whatever, I just think, I am making coffee now. Or even simpler, making coffee.
Exactly. Or brushing my teeth, walking to work, cooking dinner. It's this continuous context-rich practice. You're not just memorizing vocabulary lists. You're using the language actively in real-time scenarios.
Oh, okay.
It really helps internalize common verbs, phrases, tenses right when they're relevant. It makes them much more natural and easy to grab when you need them later in real conversation. It kind of embeds the English into your actual lived experience.
That's a really smart way to keep the language active in your mind all day. Okay, the third strategy. This one I find really interesting. It hits right at that internal interpreter problem. Use mental subtitles. What does that actually look like? How do you do that?
So this means whenever you hear something in your native language, maybe a friend is talking to you, maybe you're listening to something, or maybe it's just a thought you have.
Yeah.
You quickly, mentally try to form how you'd say that same thing in English.
Ah.
It's like an instant translation into English, but just in your head. No pressure to say it out loud.
Okay, so give me an example. If I'm with a friend and they say something in, say, Hindi, like "Mujhe bhook lagi hai," my immediate thought shouldn't just be processing the Hindi. It should be like a quick mental flash of "I'm hungry."
Exactly that.
Yeah.
It's a perfect example. It's an active mental workout.
Yeah.
You're deliberately forging those direct connections between the idea and the English expression, strengthening those neural pathways.
Right.
The more you consciously do that, the stronger and faster those connections become. Yeah. Eventually, that direct route becomes the default, bypassing the native language detour. Yeah. It's like building a mental bridge and then using it so often it becomes the main highway.
Okay, now this next one. This feels crucial and probably a huge relief for a lot of learners who get stuck. Stop searching for perfect sentences. This tackles that anxiety head on, right?
It's such a liberating idea, honestly. We're often taught, focus on accuracy, get the grammar perfect.
Yeah, totally.
But for building fluency, especially in these early stages of thinking directly in English, our sources really emphasize that good enough is often better than perfect, but slow. Don't get bogged down worrying about flawless grammar in your internal thoughts.
So hang on. It's actually okay if my internal monologue is a bit broken. Like if I think, I go shop, instead of the perfectly correct, I'm going to the shop, that feels weird, like I'm practicing bad habit.
It does feel counterintuitive, I get that. But think about it this way. Letting go of that pressure for perfect grammar right now prevents that analysis paralysis, where you overthink everything and say nothing.
Definitely know that feeling.
The goal here is to get your brain comfortable just expressing ideas directly in English, to build momentum, build flow, the accuracy, the finer points of grammar. That will improve naturally over time. With more practice, more exposure, your brain learns to self-correct.
Okay.
Think of the mental energy you save when you're not constantly editing every thought before it's even fully formed. It allows for that fluidity first. Refinement comes later.
That's a really different perspective. Prioritize the flow, especially in your head, and trust that accuracy will follow.
Okay. And the last strategy kind of brings all these pieces together. Practice thinking in small steps. This isn't about suddenly trying to have complex internal debates in English, right?
No, absolutely not. It's all about gradual progression. You start really small, single words, like we said, with naming objects, table, window.
Then you build up to short phrases, maybe like narrating your day, making tea, walking fast. And then eventually you progress to forming complete thoughts, slightly more complex sentences in your head.
So it's like training wheels for your brain.
Exactly, or like training a muscle. You start with lighter weights, get comfortable, then gradually increase the load. You're allowing your brain to adapt comfortably to switching into English mode without feeling overwhelmed.
That makes so much sense. It reinforces that idea of, incremental steps, building that mental muscle memory. Small, consistent efforts make the whole thing feel much more doable, less like this massive, impossible task. Okay, so for everyone listening who likes a clear plan, the sources you mentioned actually offer this fantastic, really quick daily routine. It's just 5 minutes, but it cleverly weaves together these techniques we've been talking about.
Yeah, this 5-minute routine is brilliant because it's so simple, but it hits different parts of this thinking in English skill.
So here's how it breaks down. First, for just 1 minute, you do that object naming thing. Look around, name things in English. This is my desk. That's a picture. I see the ceiling. Basic vocabulary warm-up.
Direct association.
Then for the next 2 minutes, you describe what you are currently doing right now in simple English sentences. I'm sitting on a chair. I'm listening intently. I'm taking a breath, that kind of thing. Your real-time narration practice.
Yep. Context rich.
And then for the final 2 minutes, you do a quick recall of your day so far, or maybe yesterday. Summarize key events in English sentences. I woke up at 7, I had breakfast, I read the news online, I talked to my colleague. Processing past events using past tenses.
Exactly. And if you actually commit to doing that little routine, just 5 minutes every single day, the cumulative effect is huge. Consistency is everything here. Your brain will slowly, steadily stop defaulting to translation. It will start thinking more naturally in English.
It's not like a grueling workout then.
Not at all. It's about building a habit, a small, sustainable habit that genuinely rewires how your brain handles English over time. That small daily investment, it pays off massively, often without you even noticing the huge effort.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for your fluency journey? The next time you feel stuck speaking English, or even just thinking about what to say, remember this core idea from our deep dive. Try not to translate. Try to think in English. It's a fundamental shift, right? It definitely takes time, takes that consistent daily practice we talked about. But you will see real noticeable improvement, that little internal interpreter. It'll gradually get quieter and quieter.
And maybe consider this thought. Consistently applying these little mental shifts. It's not just about making your English faster. It's about fundamentally changing your whole relationship with the language.
How so?
Well, you stop just like using English as a tool or visiting it like a foreign place. You start to actually inhabit it, making it feel like a natural part of how you think and feel. So the question to mull over is, what new doors might that open for you? What new levels of confidence, self-expression, maybe even new ways of seeing the world could emerge when English becomes less of a translation task and more of just how you think?
That's a really powerful way to frame it. Moving from using English to really living in it mentally. It's a leap, for sure. But as we've seen today, the steps to get started are surprisingly simple. They're accessible. They're right there for you. So your personal deep dive into this practice, it starts now. Start small, stay consistent, and unlock that fluency that's waiting.